Zdravo I dobrodošli nazad. Hi and welcome back. Some Serbian verbs look completely normal, but then you try to conjugate them, try to use them in a sentence, and suddenly some letters appear, some letters disappear, some sounds change, everything changes. So today we're going to cover 4 most frequent Serbian verbs that confuse almost every student. This is Serbian in 5 minutes. Short, simple lessons where you learn real Serbian, the language people use in everyday life, shaped by culture and real moments. One of the first Serbian verbs that everyone learns is zvati, to call. And its pair, zvati se, reflexive form, zvati se, to be called. You probably know the phrase zovem se, I am, my name is, or I'm being called. Zovem se Sonja. We said zvati, and now we say zovem. Where did a go? Look at the other forms as well. Zovem se, zoveš se, zove se, zovemo se, zovete se, zovu se. So a disappeared, and actually that happens sometimes in Serbian. Things get even more interesting, let's say interesting, just not to say difficult, when we add prefixes. And in Serbian we have a lot of them, and each of them changes the meaning of the verb. So for zvati, we have nazvati, to call somebody but very shortly. We have pozvati, to invite. We have sazvati, to gather a meeting, a lot of them. So the main thing for zvati, or the infinitive zvati or zvatise, is that it does change a bit when it changes, when it conjugates. It becomes zovem in the present tense. And if you add prefixes, it does change the meaning. As I said, it's not only about zvati, it happens a lot with a lot of verbs. Something extremely important in Serbia, meals, right? So people usually learn very fast. Doručak is breakfast. Literally it means do ručak, until lunch. Then we have ručak as lunch, as main event in a day and in our lives. And večera, dinner. But how do you say to have breakfast? Well, infinitive is doručkovati. Doručkovati. It would be logical to think that present tense is now doručkovam, but it's not. It's actually doručkujem. So what happened? The whole syllable is lost. O, V, A is totally lost. Instead of doručkovam, we always say doručkujem. How we change? Ja doručkujem, ti doručkuješ, on doručkuje, mi doručkujemo, vi doručkujete, oni doručkuju. It does seem difficult, but a good news is that it always happens with all other verbs as well when you find ova or ava or similar in the infinitive. For example, putovati, to travel. It has ova, the whole syllable gets lost, and you say putujem. Kupovati, to shop. Kupujem. Prodavati, to sell. Prodajem. So in every verb with ova, the same thing happens. So yes, doručkovati, doručkujem does seem crazy, but it happens a lot. It is in fact a rule in Serbian. Food is still the topic here, but now let's go to the restaurant. Hajde u restoran. Many students want to prepare and, for example, want to know how to say, can you recommend me anything? How to say that? Well, to recommend is preporučiti. Very long verb. Preporučiti. How to change? Ja preporučim, ti preporučiš, on preporuči, mi preporučimo, vi preporučite, oni preporuče. So, can you recommend me anything would be da li možete da mi preporučite nešto. Or just slightly faster, jel možete da mi preporučite nešto? Faster or slower, it's not really easy to pronounce, so maybe you can use a noun, preporuka, recommendation. And you can say, jel imate neku preporuku? Do you have any recommendation? Preporučiti, preporučim, preporuka. And finally, one of my favorites, because I adore surprises, is iznenaditi, to surprise. How to change? Ja iznenadim, ti iznenadiš, on, ona iznenadi, mi iznenadimo, vi iznenadite, oni iznenade. A lot of words come from this same stem, so we have iznenada, suddenly, and iznenađenje, a surprise. We can say, iznenadio si me, you surprised me, if you talk to a man. Or iznenadila si me, if you talk to a woman. Or we can say, to je veliko iznenađenje, that's a big surprise. The good news is that these verbs are difficult for almost everybody. Almost every student stumbled at some point because of these verbs. The bad news is that we have many more. But as I always say, don't try to memorize everything all at once. Try to use them in sentences, in the examples. That's the best way to learn and the most spontaneous way to learn. Write me in the comments which verb confuses you the most, and maybe we can cover it in some of the next episodes. Hvala puno I vidimo se uskoro. Thank you so much and see you soon.